Jrue Holiday is a Celtic just days after being dealt from Milwaukee to Portland as part of the Damian Lillard blockbuster. Carrying the load is presented by the Chevy Silverado. In exchange for Holiday, the Celtics have sent Rob Williams and Malcolm Brogdon to the Blazers. Portland also gets a 2024 first-round pick via Golden State and a 2029 first-round pick. Here's what Jaylen Brown had to say at Celtics Media Day about the newest teammate.
Jrue is fantastic. I know a tremendous amount of respect from Jrue, from somebody who he's guarded and I've had to guard. It's just he plays with a certain force that you could just feel. He's just super solid, man, and just as a competitor, he's an assassin. So to be playing alongside, I think it would be a tremendous honor.
Sometimes you ask for something on a Thursday and you get it on a Sunday, everybody. Deep dive in this big trade over the weekend. Best thing to happen in Boston sports for sure. Our Celtics insider, Chris Forsberg, is here. We're still with Marc the Beetle Bertrand from 98.5 The Sports Hub. Bertrand, what was your reaction when you heard the news?
I'm absolutely thrilled. Are you kidding me? There are some times when you have a take and you have your take and you understand that there will be people with differing takes from yours. On this one, I'm having a hard time grasping the other side and why someone may not be thrilled about this and be just completely excited about the upcoming Celtics season. I don't get the other side on this one. I love this deal. I love that the Celtics did this. Thank you, Brad Stevens, for taking a little bit of a risk and going for it, pushing those chips in. Oh, it's going to be great. I'm so happy for the Celtics.
Did I hear you say, Beetle, that this is the most excited you've ever been, maybe?
Oh, in years. In a year. For the start of a season, for October and November basketball, yes, this is the most excited I've been about a Celtics team in a decade and a half. Okay, since Kevin Garnett came onto the scene.
Games
this
you can
is
see
awesome.
Right here on NBC Sports
Boston. Forsberg, you and I are like on the same team this year, man. Green teamers. Doing podcasts, raving about the Celtics.
Are you happy with the trade? We'll get to why you might not be in a sec. But overall, are you happy with? Were you excited to hear that Jrue Holiday was joining this team and what he can do for the team?
One of the things the Celtics did this offseason was put a priority on sacrificing emotion for the betterment of talent, right? And talent is king in the NBA. So as much as some of us might be emotionally attached to Marcus Smart, to Robert Williams, you can undeniable the Celtics are a higher ceiling team right now by adding Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. You have four legitimate, not only potential all-stars, but guys that have been in all-stars in recent seasons. You have Derek White. Your top six is better than anybody else in the NBA. And for that reason, Celtics fans should be excited.
You can sense in
the
Chris.
Tone. What happened to you?
Right, there isn't quite the excitement that we felt from Bertrand.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I think this might have been a little more costly, this trade, for some people. The Celtics have the draft capital. If the Blazers want a future first-round pick, Malcolm Brogdon and Chris, cover your ears. Robert Williams. Are you just trying to get in? I know you're mad about it. Chris, I love the Time Lord as much as you do, but he's an oft-injured big man. You have two of those guys already on the roster. How you doing, buddy?
Go ahead.
Do you want a hug?
I'm good.
Do you want?
Need a hug?
Come here. Thank you.
Come here.
Hug it out.
It's okay. It's going to be all right.
It's a loss for Chris Forsberg.
So first off,
I literally think you might cry.
No, I did yesterday. I got it all out yesterday. It was a shock in the moment. And some of you might know we did a podcast with Rob on Sunday morning. Great timing, as always. and let me tell you, if I didn't see it coming, he sure didn't either. And so a couple hours later, when I got this news, as I was trying to enjoy the last day off of the Celtics offseason on a golf course, and I just kind of fell to the ground and wept openly in front of my foursome as they tried to pull me off the ground and move on to the next hole. It took a little bit of processing, and I'm overly emotional because of my attachment to the player and what I think his ultimate potential is, and I hope he flourishes with the Trailblazers. But I would be lying to you if I'm not sitting here and saying the Celtics are a better team today. Now, I don't know if there'll be a better team 4 years from now. I think the window gets a little bit tighter. Making the money works gets a little bit tougher. But man, you know what? The one way to shut me up is to go out there and win a title. I did tell Brad Stevens I was pissed at him today, and so, it's just the way it goes.
He's like, hey, got to do what I
and
I
I was like, hey, I'm mad at you, but I also kind of understand what you did for, because this is I'm still trying. I want to be angrier about the trade, But it's like such a ridiculously good deal for the Celtics, and I'm like, I just can't be upset about it because this is what championship teams are supposed to do. So
even the biggest Rob Williams defender and
can understand
this deal.
I mean, listen,
that's all I ask for.
This is a huge. I mean, basically, they got Marcus Smart without the drama queen. Like to me, that's what they got. They got someone who is great defensively, who isn't going to try and take the last shot of the game because he understands. I think he's a little more deferential, but the most important thing, he's won a title.
Sure.
Like he won a title in Milwaukee, and I think that experience is tenfold for this team.
And the two things I said in this ramp up to the potential trade was, one, I think you have a guy who reestablishes your defensive DNA, who, like you said, has won it. And I think that's huge. Like Jason and Jaylen, for all they've done, they need someone who can help get them over that hump.
Yeah.
And the other thing for me is he is so motivated. Like imagine, he's already had tons of success in his career going up against Lillard. And now you're like, that's the guy they replaced me with. And this is the one team that's in our way going to the NBA Finals. And that is going to be, those are must-see matchups coming up against the Bucks.
All right, so what are the mechanics of all of this? What does Joe Mazzulla's starting five look like now? Well, here's what the Celtics second-year head coach said when he was asked that very question earlier today.
I think with the roster that we have in the season, I thought something that was good for us last year was our ability to go back and forth of double big and playing small. And so put thought into it, haven't really come across kind of what the best way to go about that is yet. But I want to be as open-minded as we can, knowing we have a lot of flexibility, in the backcourt and in the front court.
Why are you going like this?
Does he want me to pencil it in for him? His starting lineup? What are we talking about here, Joe? What are we talking about?
But fairly, what would you do?
So the only question is, do you want Al on the floor to start the game, or do you want Porzingis on the floor? That's it. That's the only question.
Oh, well, so I think there's a world where they go double big.
Oh, there will. I mean, yes, you're right.
Right, but I think the problem there is that if you have two oft-injured players that you worry about being out there every night, especially Al playing back-to-backs, then
you're probably not going to go with that.
Just not on the second day of the back-to-backs when Al's not even available.
So, and maybe, I hate flexible lineups. I think your guys need to know what they are and where they come off the bench. I think we saw a guy that just got shipped out, and Malcolm Brogdon had to thrive knowing he was the sixth man. And so, define roles.
I just think that because of the health concerns and age concerns and load management concerns of Porzingis and Al, that you don't start double big unless, matchups obviously will give you an advantage by doing that on certain nights, but you can be flexible to a degree. But I would think most nights you're going to have the Jays and you're going to have Derek White and you're going to have Holiday all on the floor to start the game.
And Porzingis makes the most sense to start.
Do you lose a little bit, though, with no Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench?
No, that's no offense to Malcolm Brogdon, who was fantastic last year and great sixth man. But we're talking about, we don't know who the five starters are because they have so much talent. Like if Derek White's that guy, he'll be fine in that sixth man role. You are worried. I'm worried about spots 7 through 10. Guys got to show a little bit something. But I think in general they're in a really good position.
The Celtics are now co-favorites with Milwaukee at plus 400 to win it all. Any excuse? I mean, at this point, I feel like if they're not there in the end, man. The pressure is on now. That's one thing. They got to win, man. They got to win.
True, but I think that it's, to say that this was somehow the wrong move or it was a failure this offseason if they don't win the title, I wouldn't go that far because I think this was the right thing to do, even if they don't win the title as a result of it.
The way they're kind of clogging up their cap, they've got to win early, and then then it gets easy to kind of be like either we're going to spend $1 million or billions of dollars into the future, or make tough decisions about which personnel you're carrying forward. But I don't know. To me, it's like this season is really important.
Well, again, as a green teamer now, I would just like to say I don't know that there is great shame in losing to the Milwaukee Bucks.
There's great shame in losing Robert Williams.
Oh, and there we go.
Shame.
Shame. I'm sorry for your
loss. It's okay. I'll be over in a few days.
Sorry for your loss, Chris.
A few days.
All right, check out the latest Celtics Talk podcast. Chris Forsberg has more on Celtics Media Day. You can scan the QR code on the screen. You can also find it on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube. It is presented by 24autogroup.com.